You got me dazed like some purple haze. You get me high, but in a second can bring me down from that purple sky. Gotta Twitter ya when I hear your favorite tune. Yeah, I follow you, but this trance has me confused. Like, do you care for me, or do you wanna come upstairs with me? I'm not about that love, but I really need that sex therapy, girl. I go wild, yeah, I'm a Minnesota wild boy. One day if you
So we are here with David Paul Pierzina Jr., otherwise known as Epidemic. And okay, I have to stop right there and ask you about why the name Epidemic, and for God's sakes, why does it look like a web-generated password with like caps and numbers and punctuation marks? And tell me about that.
The main reason, exactly, the reason I went and spelled it difficult was, one, I was trying to brand myself and kind of make sure that it was individuality. So I went and changed a couple of the letters and capitalized a few of the letters. There's also another Epidemic out there. There's one other that I've actually searched, so I wanted to make sure there was no confusion.
So you come from a somewhat difficult background, or at least, you know, a complicated one. Tell me a little bit about how that transition went from selling drugs to selling songs.
Well, basically in Minnesota, it's a struggle no matter where you're at, but in Minnesota, in Minneapolis in particular, you grow up around people that may not be doing the right thing, so you learn from what you see. And growing up, I followed the wrong crowd, and I just dabbled into selling weed and selling other things, and basically what happened is through that scene I started hearing people rapping and doing music and getting into little ciphers and circles. So I noticed that I could take this drug selling and be more positive with it. So I dropped that and I started picking up on what people were doing in the music scene, and now instead of selling drugs, I sell music.
Tell me a little bit about how, like, your process, how you come up with your lyrics and your music, and what's that like for you?
Good words of a good man that I kind of follow and emulate and idolize in a way. Tech 9 with Strange Music, based out of Kansas City, Missouri. Basically, I watch and study everything that's going on in the scene so I can be one step or two steps ahead of everybody. Okay,
and now, aside from the labels, now is the time for your shameless plug, and tell us a little bit about where we can find more information on these mixtapes and the album and you know, your shows or whatever it is that you know, your new projects.
Definitely. You can find me at facebook.com/MN Epidemic, EPIDEMIC. You can find me at Twitter at /DEpidemicMN for Minnesota. You can also find me on Reverb Nation at /DEpidemic with DEPID3MIC. I'm cheating. I'm not going to forget anybody's name because I'm going to make sure you guys all get represented out of Minnesota.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing a lot more of, remember, Epidemic, and he can tell you again how to spell it because it's the most complicated thing that I've come across, but it certainly does make sense, and it's a different way. It sets him apart, and thank you so much for being here.